Welcome back to EDH on a Budget. I'm your host Iceman. Today we're going to go over one of my favorite new commanders that are underutilized. This one is called Troyan Gutsy Explorer. It costs about 5 cents. It is only the commander in about a couple hundred decks according to EDH Rec. And let's get over it. First up, it only costs 1 green and a blue to cast, which is nice. I like to be able to ramp on turns 1 and 2, and then this commander also kind of ramps you because this Videl Scout with 1/3 stats has tap, add green and a blue, spend this mana only to cast spells with mana value 5 or greater, or spells with X in their mana costs. It also has pay blue, tap, draw a card, then discard a card. So there's a lot of ways you could go with this. This is a very flexible commander. You could go into X spells, you could go into 5 CMC or greater spells. You could go with, having a draw a discard outlet in your command zone has a lot of utility there. So it's able to do kind of anything you need in the game with the draw, fill your graveyard, and ramp. The way I went with it was spells with mana value 5 or greater. A couple of X spells, but not really too many. And the draw discard option is nice for when I'm desperate for a land, or if I need to find some removal and dig a little deeper, or fill the graveyard. This deck is going to utilize the graveyard with several different mechanics. And I want to go over the ramp ability with this commander. Alternate casting cost spells, you could still cast them with this commander. So cards like Muldrifter will work with this. You can pay the evoke cost of Muldrifter with this and then 1 more mana, because the card's mana value is 5. Even though you're paying 3 mana, it's 5. So this still works with a lot of evoke spells as long as the mana value of that card originally is 5. So I do have a couple of those evoke creatures that I talked about in previous videos in this deck. I also have cards like Treasure Cruise. There's a couple of cards just like this. This sorcery is 7 and a blue. Has Delve, which reduces the mana cost of the spell by 1 for each card you exile from your graveyard, and it draws you 3 cards. So Troyan's mana ability will recognize this is an 8 CMC card, so it will work even if you reduced its mana cost all the way down to 2 and then just tapped Troyan to pay that 2. So this is nice. It's nice for the fact that you can cast it for cheap, but also because now you're putting an 8 CMC card in your graveyard, and that is going to matter with cards like Collect Evidence. Treasure Cruise is really cheap. It's only about a quarter, 25 cents, 30 cents. And Muldrifter is also even cheaper than that. I think it's about 15 cents. Another way we fill the graveyard in this deck is with See the Unwritten. This sorcery spell costs 4 green. Reveal the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest into your graveyard. And it has Ferocious, which is if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may put 2 creature cards onto the battlefield instead of 1. So this card is doing everything you want. It's going to put 6 or 7 cards, I guess it could be 8 cards, into your graveyard. But when you're building the deck, you're going to have such a high density of creatures that that's just not going to happen. And you're going to put something onto your battlefield, the best of your top 8. So that is really good. Don't get thrown off, scared off the 6 mana, because like I said, with your commander, if you're ramping on turns 1 or 2, and then you play your commander on turn 2 or 3, you could be casting this spell on turn 3 or 4, way before turn 6. So it's going to be a good spell, because again, when this card goes to the graveyard, now you got a 6 CMC card in your graveyard. Why does that matter? Because of one of my new favorite cards, Conspiracy Unraveler. This is about $1.10, and See the Unwritten's 46 cents. So Conspiracy Unraveler is 5 mana, blue, so that's a total of 7 mana. Is a Sphinx Detective with flying and 6/6 stats, you may collect evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost of spells that you cast. So you can do this on any turn. As long as that spell is an instant, it will work. And as I was talking about, this deck has a lot of 5 CMC and higher cards. So when you're using them, when they're going in the graveyard, you're going to be able to exile just one or two of them with this card. Probably not one. There's not many 10 mana value cards, but just 2 or 3 of them, and you can cast a card for free. And since it's so full of high CMC spells, you're going to more than likely be casting something of great value for free when you collect that evidence. There's cards like Colossal Sky Turtle. The rampart of your commander will not work with the channel abilities of this card, but this card is an enchantment creature turtle, 4 green, blue. The stats are 6/5, and it has flying, ward 2. Like I said, most of the time you're never going to be using it as a creature. It's only about 30 cents, 25 cents. You're going to use its channel, the activated ability, where you discard it from your hand, you pay 2 and a green, and you can return a card from your graveyard to your hand, or the other one, which is 1 and a blue, to return target creature to its owner's hand. So that could be to save your commander, it could be to get rid of a problem piece, or you're just any creature and you're just trying to get it into your graveyard, so you have a 7 CMC card to collect evidence with. What are some game enders? What are you trying to hit? Well, green and blue have tons of big creatures that will end the game rather quickly. And Coma Cosmos Serpent is one that got a reprint and has dropped all the way down to about $2. This legendary serpent costs 3 green, blue. Don't get scared away. Again, it's going to come down turn 4, turn 5 at the latest if it's in your opening hand. And it has this spell can't be countered. At the beginning of each upkeep, create a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. You can sacrifice another serpent, and then you choose one. Tap target permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. Or Coma becomes indestructible until end of turn. So it's got some built-in protection, tapping down stuff, 3/3 bodies entering on everybody's upkeep. A lot of stuff going on with this creature. If you get it out in turn 4, it's gonna be a good game. One of my favorite cards in the deck is Thunderous Debut. It's a sorcery. This costs about 30 cents, 15 cents. It has Bargain, and it costs 6 green. Bargain says you may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast a spell. And the rest of the card says, look at the top 20 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creature cards from among them. If the spell was bargained, put the revealed cards onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put them into your hand. Then shuffle. So, as I said, this deck's going to have a lot of big, heavy hitter, high CMC creatures. And putting them onto the battlefield for free with this card, and digging 20 cards deep, which is going to be about a quarter of your deck by the time you play this, is going to be really advantageous for you. You're going to gain a lot of value with this, and then you got an 8 CMC sorcery in the value in the graveyard again for that collect evidence. If you're using cards that have Delve, obviously I would be trying to use up the free 0 CMC cards like lands, fetch lands, mana dorks, mana rocks. This deck, I know it's green, and usually you don't play mana rocks in green decks, but I would definitely recommend tossing in maybe not all your ramp for mana rocks, but definitely at least like 5 or so that are 2 mana. That way they come down before your commander, and then you have an artifact to sacrifice when you cast cards like this that have Bargain. And this commander is also going to be very useful in terms of your deck will work faster with it, and it'll still work without him. So if he gets removed, stolen, phased out, your deck's still going to work. You're just going to cast your spells closer to the on time instead of on turns 3 and 4. You'll be getting your bigger spells or later in the game. So this doesn't stop your deck from working if it's gone. And he's going to fly under the radar because it's just a mana dork. It's not going to be as scary as what many other people play. So if he stays on the battlefield, it's going to advance your game really fast. I personally don't think I'd pay 7 mana to cast him if he gets removed twice, just to leave him in the command zone and play your game, because by that time you'd rather use that 7 mana to cast your other big spells. And that's it. That's my new favorite commander deck.